Good afternoon. Thank you, Samuel, for having me here. I'm David VASQUEZ with Verizon. And je ne parle petit peu de français, mais je sais que ma prononciation c'est terrible. So I am going to do this in French so that no one leaves the stage running. Really excited about being here at the Connected Things Forum, and I will be talking about IoT, the Internet of Things. But before I start, I want to give you, put in context the Verizon brand. So show of hands, who knows Verizon in the room? All right, marketing is working. So we're a very large company. Verizon is one of the largest full-service global providers of networks, cloud, security, SDN, software-defined networking. We're doing a lot of things that are key to IoT, and I'm going to highlight a few of those. We operate in over 80 countries. We have over 160,000 employees. Here in France, we have a little over 300 professionals, mostly in Paris, but all over France. And we're very well known in the CAC 40 and the SBF 120. So we've been serving large enterprises in France and through Europe and the world for quite some time. Revenues, again, $130 billion last year. IoT specific, we really excited. We shared at the end of second quarter this year, we already had over 400 million in revenue from IoT connectivity. So for us, it's the future, and we don't want to be that telco that gets stuck in the legacy commodity area, and IoT was going to be driving the Verizon brand into the future. Some of the acquisitions that from a branding perspective might give you an idea of what else Verizon does. Here are some interesting companies and things that we've done in the last decade. Some that are cool to highlight are the Sensity acquisition and AOL and Fleetmatics and Telogis. These are companies that have deployments from a telematics and a smart city perspective outside of the US, in Europe. They are now Verizon companies. At the bottom, you've got some logos from Verizon Ventures. So we also have an investment arm that looks at startups, looks at the small companies that might have 10, 20, 100 employees, but have an amazing product. And we look to partner with these subject matter experts of, from agriculture to drug pharmaceutical compliance to manufacturing, and we take the best of their solution and we complement with the scale that we bring, because we are global. We do have people all over the world, and resources when deploying IoT is something that we hear customers, they're demanding it. They want help managing all this data. In the US, we also own a wireless network, no different in a way than Orange or SFR. And something, here in Europe, we've been hearing about Sigfox and LoRa for a long time. That's also key for IoT, to have that low bandwidth, low-powered network. So an interesting investment that we've made is on Cat M1. So think of the same concepts of LoRa and Sigfox, where you have a device that just needs to send a bit of data, every other hour or every other day. And with Cat M1 LTE, we'll be able to deliver that over the cellular network, which is very interesting from an IoT perspective, because you don't have to worry about connectivity. If your mobile phone works, this device is going to work. So that's a little bit about our brand. The rest of the presentation, I'm actually, we just heard some, really good overviews and points from Samuel, and I'm going to, by the end, show you what we're actually doing in IoT. We all need the analyst slide, because the analysts are always right. In this case, McKinsey, I know. But we always bring it up because what's the opportunity? What can we really monetize? Both from a brand and deliver value to our customers. And And what is IoT about? And I like to say that IoT, it's the enabler for you, for us, to create a service that drives revenue from a physical thing. A service, an enabler to completely transform your customer's experience. That's the core of it. And from an opportunity perspective, if I pick on healthcare, so assuming that the 1.6 trillion opportunity within healthcare is accurate by 2025, that's a huge number. And if we break it down, we know that there's, when it comes to counterfeit drugs and food safety, there's a huge opportunity there that needs to be addressed. And during this presentation, I'm going to share some ideas of some of the things that we're doing. But this is what IoT is about, creating revenue, new revenue streams, driving services from physical things. And then there's also a lot of noise. I mean, I think if you guys Google what's IoT, you're going to get like 30 million results. So as a brand, almost something that it's very responsible for us to do, we're trying to define what IoT should be, because we're all familiar with machine-to-machine, which is just connectivity. So how we like to define IoT is with the 3 A's. Is it aware? Is it autonomous? Is it actionable? And I'll explain. Having a device that sends data over a network, that's not IoT. But does this device know its environment? Does it know if it's hot, if it's cold, if it got dropped, if it got tilted, if the weather's about to change, did it get unplugged, is it a power failure? Is it aware? If it's not aware, it's not IoT. Is it autonomous? So if it's collecting all this data, is it automatically sending this data to an application so that an action is performed? Not autonomous, not IoT. And then the last one, which is the key, is it actionable? You know, Samuel was talking about all the data that gets generated and how very little of it is used. So the data has to be actionable. If it's not actionable, well, it's useless and it's just not IoT. So this is how we help define it. And I'm going to show a little video of something that we will share towards the end. Let's see if this plays. And, well, I messed my slide in my head, but this is my transition video. But the point is, and again, Samuel said this already, it's about the data. You know, data is the currency. And here we go. That's supposed to have sound. Maybe I should tap dance, make some noise.
Product identifiers, serial numbers, lot numbers, expiration dates, end-to-end tracking for every package. Take control with Serialization on the Verizon Intelligent Track and Trace platform. It'll help you address your compliance requirements and identify suspect and counterfeit drug products. Plus, it also integrates seamlessly with our cold chain solution, so you can manage your inventory, track your supply chain, and get updates on real-time data, all on one platform. Protect your company, your customers, and your brand with Serialization on Verizon Intelligent Track and Trace.
So, if you serve the drug manufacturing segment, you're familiar with serialization. For those of you that are not, it's the law. It's drug manufacturers need to comply with serialization. And at the end of it, what they need to do is make sure that each product has a unique serial number, this unique identifier. Very boring. It's software. It's something that drug manufacturers are forced to do, so it might not come across as too innovative. But we saw a huge opportunity in the premise of this compliance. Wow, if you can logically tell me a single pill, a single bottle of medicine, and how many bottles are in a case, and how many cases are in a pallet, and how many pallets are in a container. And from an IoT perspective, what we ended up doing, and this is part of the healthcare, we call this intelligent track and trace. And how we are enhancing this visibility is by adding a device that's autonomous, that's aware and that has actionable data. Now we can provide environmental monitoring to drugs while in transit. And we've seen some, very interesting things already. Drug diversion is a big issue. If you were supposed to ship drugs from Montpellier to Paris, well, what if it's in Bordeaux all of a sudden? That's a problem. We can let you know. What if that vehicle stopped? Not interesting. Maybe the driver's putting fuel or maybe having lunch. But what if the truck stopped and the container opened? Should you know that? So we grabbed this, serialization solution, integrated into one of our IT platforms, and are calling it Intelligent Track and Trace. And towards the end, we have one of our partners that will help us, talk a bit about this. But the point of this slide is that we have this two-pronged approach for IoT. This we call IoT in a box, where we have identified a vertical opportunity that had, a revenue number that Verizon could leverage all of its assets to enable, and we can go to a customer and solve an IoT, solve a problem with IoT this quickly. For example, with share. We've heard a lot about the sharing economy, and the fact is that we own a lot of assets that don't get used every day. Your car, your jet ski, one of you guys has a boat. There's a lot of items that don't get fully utilized. And we have a really cool platform that enables that, whether it's a lawnmower or it's a really big truck, and we sell it as a service. The cloud infrastructure is there, the security is there. If needed, the managed services are there. We're calling this IoT in a box. I'm calling it IoT in a box. My branding guys don't like that I say IoT in a box. The other piece is the platform approach. So again, we are a big network service provider, and from the machine-to-machine days, we have been monetizing our network for a long, long time. You want to be on our network, you pay us. Very profitable. But we realized that in IoT, we needed to move up the stack. We needed to be at the application and at the platform layer. So our strategy for IoT enablement is a platform called ThingSpace. And we've grabbed all of our assets that make sense within IoT, because IoT is a big puzzle of many parts, and we are relying on the assets that we own and the subject matter expertise to enable IoT quicker. So you can have a device, and we don't care what the device is, it just needs to be the right sensor for your application. So let's, sensor agnostic. And then you need reliable connectivity. And that connectivity has to be also agnostic. So whether it's Wi-Fi, LoRa, Zigbee, cellular, 2G, 3G, 4G, it doesn't matter. But it needs to be reliable, it needs to be secure. In the middle, we have interesting things like device management. It's very easy to have 5 devices on IoT, and you turn off lights, you open your garage. It's very easy to manage a handful of devices. But what happens when you have 1,000, 10,000, 1 million? All that device orchestration, validation, authentication, making sure that the device is what it's supposed to be, that's all part of the offering. We also have the partners that we bring in when, again, from looking at the startups that we look at, if they have something that's complementary to the platform, we bring them as part of it, and all the way to the applications and solutions. So this is how we are enabling our customers to do something with IoT very quickly. At the bottom, and this is underpinning everything, especially with the DDoS attack that happened recently, is IoT security. And being that we have a large security practice, we are known worldwide for the Data Breach Investigation Report. It's a publication that we share with the public every year. We monitor millions of security events every year. So we've designed IoT security product that's much different than the classic IT perimeter-based security. So we're looking at first at the application, and we're doing application security over the top. So regardless how you're communicating, we can help you there. We are also making sure that the data is encrypted and that the network piece is solved. And this is very interesting because it puts us, IoT is still very fragmented. So from a branding perspective, it allows us to offer a core competency to anyone who's developing IoT and might just need help with the security. I forgot what the next slide is. Let's see. Oh, it's a video. So in a nutshell, I think there's, we agree on a few things. That, IoT, you need a sensor, you need transport, you need security, you need hosting, you need analytics, you need actionable data. I think we all agree with that here. And what I hope to convey is that we all want to engage with the experts. And when you look at all the parts that is needed for IoT, we own most of these parts. We have that expertise, and we can help you from the device all the way through the application. So next, I am going to show a video of something that we are doing, and then I'm going to invite to stage two panelists that will have kindly agreed to answer some questions for the benefit of the audience. So cue the video.
Here at HANA States, we're essentially bush to barrel. We run it all the way through harvesting, right to the barrels and the bottling.
If you look at the way crops have been grown for thousands of years, people have kind of tried to understand what makes the best grapes or what makes the best corn, what makes the best soybeans. And I think the IoT platform that we're building, as well as our analytic capability, gives us the ability to understand data and information at multiple scales, thereby giving growers and farmers a better insight into what's happening on their crops.
This is what is known as block 1. This represents about 6 acres. So what we're trying to do here is actually increase the precision so we can understand the individual needs per block versus applying prescriptions as a whole. We've installed flow meters on the irrigation system to measure the amount of water that we're actually applying. All of the sensors in the field communicate to a gateway housed here in the weather station. This measures both wind speed and direction, temperature and humidity, rainfall, and photosynthetically active radiation.
Now we're to the point where we've got the ability to look from UAVs, drones that are flying. We have weather stations, we have soil monitoring. When you bring all these things together, you're getting a very comprehensive view of what's happening on the ground. And that's what's really important to a farmer.
We think our solution will increase our customers' yield, reduce their spraying and watering by 30%. And it will increase the quality of the wines by increasing the uniformity of the field.
It's part of our sustainability to just find ways to do things more efficiently. And so I think that we're constantly learning. And this is really going to give us a lot more information to really fine-tune what we're looking for.
So devices, network hosting, prescriptive analytics, and even a drone. So super cool stuff. So I'm really excited to welcome two Verizon partners. So Jack Tarkov from RFXL flew all the way from Northern California to be with us. Eric Jalas, he drove here. He lives here in Montpellier. He's from another Verizon partner called ITK, who's key to our AgTech solution. So thank you both for being here. So first question for both of you, same question, but Jack, I'll go to you first. So as partners that have taken advantage of Verizon's IoT platform, could you share your view on the partnership that the value that this partnership has brought your customers?
Sure, David, thanks. It's brought a lot of value because as a small company, we don't have the scale, the global reach, the security, the network, all the things that Verizon brings to the table that we've always wanted, because we have a great platform and solution that people can take advantage of and is actionable, but we need the data, and you guys bring a lot of the capabilities from a global perspective to us.
Thank you. Eric?
Thank you, David. Perhaps I will talk a little about ITK, so like that perhaps attendants will better understand what we are doing and why it's really important for us to have access to the ThinkSpace solution. In fact, ITK is developing decision support system for the business. So we integrate process-based crop models with artificial intelligence, and we receive real-time data from field or from cow, for example, and we integrate all this information with also future information to provide, in fact, simulation of what could happen or what will happen inside each field of the grower. So in order to do that, you need to connect your sensor, okay, to the analytics, to the solution. And really, for a small company as ITK, we cannot develop our own connectivity network, okay, or infrastructure. It's exactly the same with a database capability and storage capacity, and exactly the same for the capacity calculus, I will say, capability. For example, we have right now 300,000 cows communicating with 2 sensors every 15 minutes to our system. So a company like ITK cannot really manage it by itself. So using your ThinkSpace solution, we can really provide this service to the grower, that's for sure. And second, since you are a big company, really for grower, they are really confident of our capability to provide the service, okay? Because Verizon is one of the biggest world company. You have, as you just described before, all the capacity to provide really what we need for our service. It's there, really.
Thank you. And as you mentioned, so Eric and ITK, they are a partner that's integrated on our ThinkSpace platform for the AgTech solution, that video that you saw. And it is Verizon's end-to-end solution with an integrated partner. And Jax is RFXL, who is part of our intelligent track and trace IoT solution. Should have said that first. I'm spending too much time with you guys, so I forgot. Eric, a question to you. So when I had the ThinkSpace slide, I talked about being communication agnostic, being sensor agnostic, because it's about the data. And our solution uses LoRa and uses 4G LTE. So can you, what in your opinion, what's a value to your customer that we can be hardware and network agnostic to them?
So in fact, it's really fundamental. A grower, just look at a grower business. Really, if he has to deal, for example, with connectivity question, does the sensor that I'm buying from this provider will work with this network? Do I have to manage by myself the sensor? Does the service that I am using are interoperable together? All these questions, really, the grower, the farmer, cannot deal with it. So with your solution, okay, we can plug any type of sensor on the solution with any type of communication protocol. If I want to use, for example, we are using LoRa, but we can use Sigfox, we can use LTM connectivity. Any type of protocol will work with the system, okay? So for the grower, it's really the best way. Simple, all the analytics, all the service can run on the platform. So the grower has all his data coming from his farm, coming from different sensors, but coming also from different service. Everything is there at his, I will say, at his own hand, and he can really use this information to better, in fact, to improve his production process.
Thank you. And a question for you, Jack. So RFXL is the absolute best brand for drug manufacturers to address their track and trace, their value trace, their compliance serialization needs. But outside of drugs, outside of drug pharmaceuticals, what are other use cases that you guys are exploring outside of drug manufacturers?
Well, with the help of Verizon, again, because of your global reach, there's many industries that can benefit from an IoT solution or track and trace combined with IoT. And at any industry that can benefit from visibility and real-time information and make it actionable to do something or correct something if there's an issue as they see it, obviously can make a lot of a difference. So it could be really any industry in manufacturing. It could be high-valued assets. I think in the future, as the device prices come down, the technology will change to where I think we'll be tracking many things. But in the food industry, there's many recalls and people are getting sick. Obviously, you have some of the same issues in the pharmaceutical industry. But if we can protect that by knowing what's happening as it's occurring and either solve it or take that food out of the supply chain, then obviously we can do something that will help consumers and help the companies that provide that, and even help the ones that aren't having the issue to be able to say our product is good even though there may be a recall with others in the industry. So it really isn't limited to any industry. It's where is that visibility and real-time information going to be able to provide that value to where they can do something and take action and help themselves as well as others.
Thank you. And I think we've got time for a couple of more questions. I don't think the clock is accurate here, but Eric, another question for you. So I went on Wikipedia, which means it's 100% accurate. So the earliest evidence of grapevine cultivation goes back 7,000 years. And there's evidence of grains being collected over 100,000 years ago. So agriculture is not new to us humans. So how, with AgTech, do we impact a fourth generation grower that is used to manual everything, to just touching the land? How do we enable a person like that, like a grower that has no automation, nothing's digital? How do we enable them with AgTech IoT?
David, you are right. In fact, the ag business, it's a very old business. It's one of the first, I will say, intelligent activity conducted by a human being. In fact, even if we produce wine, for example, since more than 7,000 years, the customers first change a lot. So that means the wine that was produced, for example, in Languedoc-Roussillon, even 20 years ago, is not exactly the same, and it's really far, not the same, but far from the same. That's the wine that we are producing today. But why? It's because customers are changing, in fact, their demand. So that's first. So that means the grower has to change, in fact, their cultural practices or the way that they are doing production. First. Second, you have also a big change now. It's a climate change. If you look, for example, on the wine business, it's really interesting, but in France, we have a lot of regulation. This regulation has been set in 1964, because at this time in France, we were producing too much wine. So the French government, and we like to do that in France, decide to regulate the production. So they pass a law and they ban irrigation. So by doing that, means wine production went down, and the producer has to change their way. Instead of producing bulk wine, cheap wine, they have to, since they were producing less, they have to try to produce a better wine. So that changed a lot their way to produce. But the rules that has been set at this time were rules very well adapted for the climate that you have at this time. But since 1964, the climate has changed a lot. So that means today, in fact, this regulation is not adapted at all, of the wines that we want to produce, our goal today. So using AgTech, we can first show that we have to change the regulation first, but we can provide much more insight of what's happened inside a field on a daily basis, okay? So the grower, instead of, for example, applying a pesticide or put more water because they start to irrigate in France, put too much water or to do something, okay, they will have the right information to do the right practice in order, for example, to reach the yield that they are looking, but the quality that they are looking, using less input, less pesticide, less water, using even less worker, okay, less work to do that. So that's helped them really to increase, in fact, their revenue. And you know that it's a really hard business to do agriculture. And in France, the French people know that very well. For example, the milk producer, they were fighting few weeks ago to try to increase their revenue. For example, when we have connected cow, we can improve by 10% at least the productivity of one cow. Just by doing that, instead of losing money, the producer, the farmer, the dairy farmer, will start to make money.
Great. Well, thank you. And we've actually gone over, but we will be available to answer any questions and hopefully drink some wine right outside. So, Jack, RFXL, thank you. Eric, ITK, thank you. And again, we'll be available for questions. I hope this was meaningful. Verizon is in IoT, and we're in it to win it. And hopefully we can bring value regardless the size of your organization, whether you are in the Fortune 100 or you're a startup. We would like to collaborate with you. So thank you for your time. And Samuel, sorry that we went over, but back to you.
That's fine. Thank you very much.